Here we are. First kind of nationals workout that I'm going to be releasing. Today we're talking about the online qualifier. Alright, so we've had 3 workouts as it is at the moment released. We've been through those last week, but in case we forgot, got my notepad here. First one was that couplet of wall balls and burpee shuttle runs. It was a 4-minute test, so we're really limiting our window to test, well, to work in. So we really had to work for those reps. On that second one, it was a death by format on the front squats. All right, and then the last one we had ring push-ups, dumbbell snatches, and what was it? Third one, double unders. Right, wicked. So let's dive into this. So going over the first 3 workouts, we're going to see what we've already done. Kind of break down what modalities we've done, what movement patterns that we've already worked on, and then once we've done that, moving on to what we already know coming up for these next 3 workouts and what I think might come up. So breaking down that first one, it is a couplet, and as I said, 4 minutes long. All right, so it wasn't that long. We had wall ball shots, which were standard weight, standard height. So we had 9 for guys, 6 for girls, and then that 10 foot, 9 foot target. With that, we had burpee shuttle runs. All right, so not just your regular shuttle runs that we normally do in the open or semi-finals, quarterfinals. We add the element of a burpee in there at one end. With the other end, we're doing that 2-hand touch of line. Doesn't have to be a foot over line or 3 points of contact. But what this workout was, it was really getting back to that wall ball and just seeing how many reps we can get in within that 4 minutes. And for those getting the best scores out there, they're going unbroken on that first 50 wall balls. They're sending those shuttle runs, making them light work, and then getting back onto the wall ball and like top scores 30 plus. All right, so what we've seen already is squatting, running, and a little bit of hinge and press from the floor. That second workout was I think that was our strength test. It was at death by front squats. So every minute until we failed, 3 front squats, going up in increments of 10 and 5 kilos. So what we saw there was obviously people hitting some big loads, but obviously under a bit of fatigue, right? We don't really train death by with the front squats, so that was really interesting, or death by with weights in general. So having that kind of extended EMOM was really cool to see. And obviously like top scores, at least with guys, I think I saw like 180 was the best, and then like a few people standing at 170, and then a lot of people at 160, some at 150, and then it kind of just dwindled off near the end there. So again, what we have there was, depending on how strong you were, you worked a bit more. If you weren't as strong, you worked a little bit less, but still putting that max output out there. Again, more squats, so back-to-back squat tests, which was really interesting. Moving into that third one, it was a triplet. Right, so we had ring push-ups, so the new movement in there is a ring push-up with that standard of being over that line. Dumbbell snatches, alternating, standard weight, 22.5, 16 kilos, and then we had double unders, 35. So this was a real easy 8 rounds of time. Reps were all kind of based off that kind of 8, 16, 35. Nice, manageable sets. Best going unbroken. Some of the best were almost at an EMOM for this, which is ridiculous to think about how fast they were actually moving. Getting that amount of work done in the minute continuously, consecutively after minute is pretty incredible. So well done on those guys that did get close to an EMOM. What we saw there, we saw some hinging. All right, we saw pressing, obviously in the hand or the ring push-ups, and we saw some jumping. All right, so what we've seen already, we've seen quite a bit of squatting volume. We're seeing some pressing, some hinging, and some running and some jumping. So what do we know going into these next 3 qualifier workouts? Well, we know that Michael, Big Mike, has been on the Yarns podcast. Great podcast. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. And they've said that the final workout is 67 snatches for time. He didn't say anything more than that. And we know that last year we had that 67 snatches for time. He did say it's not going to be a repeat, so it's not going to be the same weight. So what are some kind of things that we could be looking at that it might be? Now, my initial thoughts is maybe it's 67 kettlebell snatches, but we've just done dumbbell snatches, so I'm not sure how likely we are to see a dumbbell and a kettlebell snatch in the same kind of qualifier workout. Then I thought maybe we're going heavy, could be something like that, or an increasing weight. Wouldn't shock me. I kind of think that we might be doing like hang squat snatches or squat snatches, But again, that is a lot more squatting volume, and we've done quite a bit of squatting. And my last thought, it's just that increasing weight. So that is our final workout that's going to be for qualifiers. Up to you what you think it is. There's my guesses. Let's see what comes out. Right, now into what I think is going to pop up in these next 3 workouts. And I've got 5 guesses that might happen, might not. We'll see what happens. First one is more high skill gymnastics, alright? The 3 tests that we've had already have been very lower skill, meaning everybody can play, alright? The first workout we saw wall balls and burpees and shuttle runs. I know the majority of people can do those movements, alright? They're not overly difficult to do. The volume of it meant you had to push it. So I think this time round we might see some more high skill gymnastics with the muscle up, handstand walking, and stuff like that. So I'm looking for some handstand skills, maybe wall facing handstand push up. I don't know, we've done a little bit of pressing with the rings already, so maybe not, but I do think we might see a muscle up in there. Number 2, I think we're going to see some rowing, alright? Looking back at the last 3 tests, breaking down to weightlifting, gymnastics and monostructural, we had 3 weightlifting movements, we had 2 monostructural workouts, and I put 1.5 gymnastics, with that burpee being the half, with the ring push-ups being the main one there. So we haven't seen a whole lot of gymnastics or mono, we've seen a lot of weightlifting over 3 tests, I know, but I do think we're going to see rowing in there at some point, and we can't just have gymnastics and weightlifting the last 3, although the last one is just a full weightlifting test. Next one, I think, big guess, we might see some strict pull-ups. We saw them at individual nationals last year for the elite. Could we potentially see them again? I think so. I think we're going to see a bit of high volume gymnastics pulling in this next 3 tests. That's my prediction. Don't know how well it's going to turn out, but I'm kind of hoping that we do see some strict pull-ups. They are underutilized, especially in competition, so it'd be cool to see something like that in the qualifier. Number 4, I think we're going to see testing some grip capacity. In the past, we have seen Big Mike testing some grip capacity. We've had dumbbell box step overs, we've had the dead hang. I know he does like to burn the grip somehow, so I think he's going to try to sneak it in there some way in these next 3 workouts. Could be to do with the snatches, quite possibly. Alright, and my last one, this is probably the most out the gate guess I'm going to make for these qualifier videos. I think possibly we might see a handstand hold. Don't know how sure I am on that, but maybe for the elites, we're seeing a freestanding handstand hold. Maybe you have a 10-minute window to find your longest handstand hold unbroken inside a square. Maybe as we trickle down for the RX scaled, we see a wall-facing handstand hold, and just how long can you hold on for without moving those hands. But yeah, I know that's probably a bit out there, but I mean, personally, I'd love to see it. I think it's testing some skills and add some fatigue in there. Yeah, so what can we see this week? We know 67 snatches are coming. We heard that on the Yarns podcast of Big Mike and those boys. We know it's not going to be the same as last year. He said he doesn't like doing repeats, so we can cross light barbell off, testing grip some capacity there, maybe. I think it's going to be some hang snatches, maybe hang squat, but again, done a lot of squatting. We're going to see some high volume gymnastics, pulling, some high skill gymnastics. We're going to see some rowing, I think. I think rowing's going to be in there. Fingers crossed, actually. Strict pull-ups, testing some grip, and then some handstand holds. Anyway, those are my guests. I hope you enjoyed the video or the podcast, wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Let me know in the comments down below what you